Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Friday. It's July 19th. It is 2024. We have an 11-game baseball slate to welcome baseball back into our daily lives. MLB All-Star break in the books. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, brother. Doing good. Glad to come on. We're going to get back into the saddle here and talk a little MLB and hopefully help some people make a little bit of money on this slate as well. Nice little slate to kick us off. Some good pitching, some interesting hitting, and I think it's a good slate. I think it's a good slate for sure.
It's that slate that you're going to get right after the All-Star break, where you're going to have a lot of good pitching, and you got to try to find out which good pitching you want to use and which good to decent pitchers you want to attack. Because, I mean, there's a couple spots, right? There's a couple spots that we can attack today. Cal Quantrill's pitching, Chris Flexen's pitching. So there's a couple names that you feel really good about attacking, but it is the, second half start, right after the All-Star break. And we know that we have a lot of good arms. And a couple of pitchers skip the All-Star game so they can start right after the break. So fun slate. A lot to talk about. What's up, YouTube chat? I posted in chat the link to the Morning Grind contest for Friday. Make sure you jump into that. The winner of that can do a 3-day pass for Premium, or they could do a 3-day pass for NASCAR. NASCAR back at Indianapolis Brickyard 400 this weekend. So back at the Brickyard if you want it NASCAR instead of Premium. So whichever one you want, whoever wins that contest, take it down. Will, 11 games, a lot to talk about. We'll be a little long-winded because we haven't done this in a week. We start right off the top. Tampa Bay at New York Yankees. 8 total in this game, and the Yankees are a 165 favorite. Zach Eflin, Garrett Cole. Any interest here in Zach Eflin?
I don't think I want to play Eflin, Stevie. Now, he had a good game in his previous start against the Yankees right before the break. But I think I'm going to pass here. I'm going to trust the Yankees offense. They are in New York. And so I think Eflin ends up with a much tougher matchup here than he did when he faced them about 8 to 9 days ago. So I'm going to take the fade here. But, I do understand at 7,500 there may be some little bit of meat on the bone, but I'm taking the fade.
Yeah, Zach Eflin, 7,500, fair price tag. He just faced the Yankees right before the All-Star break and pitched decent against them. 7 innings, 6 strikeouts, gave up a run, couple hits, threw 100 pitches for the first time all season. So that was really good to see. So I like the price tag. I don't necessarily love the matchup against the Yankees. They're a low strikeout team. So I think that I will pass with you on Eflin. We could be very, very picky today when it comes to pitching. So
yeah.
Garrett Cole on the other side. Any interest here in Garrett Cole?
Man, Stevie, mixed bag with Garrett Cole right now. I'm still going to pass on him. He's at home, but Tampa Bay gets rolling here. This could be a rough start. I do like the price tag, but I just kind of want to wait until Cole gets into form, and I don't mind waiting until he's 10K to do it. And I think it's something important. You said, we do have a fair amount of pitching today. And so I don't think Cole is the worst pitcher, but I feel more confident in a couple other guys. So I'm going to take the fade here on Cole also. And let me say this. If he was in Tampa Bay, I think I'd have interest. But in Yankee Stadium, I'm going to take the fade here.
See, I think I'm the opposite. I think I actually like Garrett Cole a little bit today. I like the price tag. He's 9K. The price tag's phenomenal. Tampa is a pretty heavy strikeout team, just in general. So I think there's a lot of upside here. Brandon Lowe or Rosarina, Lowe, Siri, Walls. They have 6 guys with strikeout rates over 24% against right-handed pitching this season. So Garrett Cole, 9K. all the pricing on pitching is pretty cheap today, just because there's so many good pitchers. But I think Garrett Cole is a guy that I'm going to leave in my player pool. And just again, I think the strikeout upside is worth noting here. And he's had some good strikeout games here recently after kind of starting slow, and he did it against some low strikeout teams with, Toronto, Boston, Baltimore. So I think he's going to fare well in a heavy strikeout match. 106 pitches last time out. So I like Garrett Cole a lot here. I do not like the Tampa Bats. This is you can always chase a home run off of Garrett Cole, especially in Yankee Stadium, maybe like a Brandon Lau home run. But I think I'm going to play Cole over the Bats today.
Yep, I'm not playing Tampa Bay either. Once again, this is me just trying to see if Cole is going to string together a few more starts since coming back. That's really all this is. So I'm definitely believing in Cole and not really worried too much about Tampa Bay offense today.
Any interest in the Yankees bats here?
Do have some interest in the Yankees, Stevie. I think this is an interesting spot for them. Like I said, they just saw Eflin, outside of our normal 5-day window, but still, this team just saw him. This is going to be their last start. Then their first start back, they get to see him. They're at home. Obviously, you know how much I love Juan Soto just because he scores fantasy points in such a variety of ways. I'm fine with Verdugo here. I do know Eflin wants to keep the ball on the ground, so I get it, but I think he's still a cheap piece. Obviously, you can play Aaron Judge. Wells, a lot of these guys are still out. Gleyber Torres is still cheap as a result. DJ Mayhew is still cheap. I think this is a cheap enough stack, Stevie. Anthony Volpe down to 3,800. Just so many options here, even outside of the big two. So I love this team today for a big tournament stack.
Yeah, it's really interesting because throughout his career, Eflin has been really strong against righties, and then this year he's really struggled with power righties, which obviously the best power righty in baseball is on the Yankees with Aaron Judge. So if Eflin struggles, this could be a spot where the Yankees go big. So with the lack of stellar hitting options today, I'm very interested in taking some shots on the Yankees bats.
Yeah.
A lot of good pitching today.
For sure.
Detroit at Toronto, 7.5 total straight pick'em game, -110 both sides. We got Jack Flaherty and Chris Bassett facing off against each other. Any interest here in Jack Flaherty?
So Stevie, I'm wondering how they're going to handle Flaherty with the break, and I'm saying that because they were very careful with him in that Cleveland start, before the break. Captain basically, pulled him at 83 pitches, still got through 6, still pitched a really good game. I'm assuming, Stevie, he could get back to the 90s here. This isn't a high strikeout offense in Toronto, but Flaherty has just proven, Stevie, that he's been good. He's just going to be good this year, I think. And as long as we feel like he's mainly healthy, I'm fine with Flaherty because of the consistency. I mean, we've seen him face this team already this season. He had 9 strikeouts, gave up a couple runs in that one, obviously. Got touched up a little, but still had 9 strikeouts. So the strikeout stuff has been there all year. The leash has mostly been there all year. I think I'm willing to roll the dice here at 9,500.
Yeah, and they were up in that Cleveland game a lot. So I think that had a lot to do with the pitch count. Like you said, it was going into the break. They could kind of kids glove him a little bit in that one. So I like the upside with Flaherty. This is a very right-handed heavy offense, and he has a 33.5% strikeout rate against righties this year. He's always been a much better strikeout pitcher against righties. So I like Flaherty. Bassett on the other side. Detroit's a good matchup for any pitcher. They're a team that is very beatable, but the top half of this lineup has been hitting a lot better. They've been hitting Perez leadoff. Cole Keith got the call, and he's been hitting better. Vierling, Riley Green's having a phenomenal year. It's not like a cupcake matchup anymore. There's still plenty of strikeouts at the bottom half. What are we doing with Bassett today with the pitching slate that we have?
I think this is going to be an ownership play for me today, Stevie. Now, but here's the thing. The slate is so big, and I feel like, and I don't want to jump ahead, but I think this is relevant for the conversation, if you will. I feel like Hunter Brown's going to be the 8K guy. Like that's just what I'm thinking based on the matchup. Well, either him or Logan Webb. Let me say that. But I feel like those are like the two. And so I think, Stevie, Bassett may get left out to dry here or have much lower ownership in that 8K range. And that's going to give me some interest. So, like if I'm playing 100 lineups as an example, maybe I get him in 10% of the lineups because I don't know if he makes it to 10% because I feel like these other 8K guys are going to have more ownership. Now, if I'm wrong and he has 20% ownership, I'd probably just take the fade and load up on the other guys.
I don't think he's going to be popular at all on this slate at this price. So I'm not a huge Bassett person in general, and his command has been kind of all over the place recently. So I think I'm going to fade Bassett today, given the amount of pitching that we have.
Well, let me ask you
even
this,
though, yeah.
Before you, sorry, I cut you off. I'm real sorry about that. How do you feel about pairing him with these other 8K guys? Like that, to me, that's the play with Bassett if you're going to play him. Like you're trying to kind of save some salary and maybe get up to a Judge and Soto type pairing. You get what I'm saying?
No, I hear you. The thing is, like, Brown and Waka are going to be very popular today.
I know. I know.
We haven't got to those two games. We haven't got to those two spots. So I like Sean Manaea as a pivot off of those guys more than I like Bassett. And I kind of like Logan Webb more than I think I like Bassett. So that's just one of the reasons why I don't have like a lot of love for Bassett today, more than anything else. I don't hate pairing two cheaper pitchers. I have no issues whatsoever with that. It's just I think I like other pitchers more than Bassett. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk bats. I kind of have some interest in Detroit today, Will. I really like Riley Green. He's 5K. The rest of this lineup is extremely cheap. Like, it's not hard to make a small 2 to 3 man mini stack, and like Bassett just continues to be awful against lefties this year.
Yeah, no, I agree with. I don't want to stack Detroit, but if you're telling me, hey, give me some of these lefties for cheap along with Riley Green, I'm good with that, Stevie. And I mean, like you said, we've seen it. He has struggled against lefties. No doubt about it, and so I'm in on that. Once again, Stevie, I'm not going more than 3 deep on Detroit though. Like I'm not going 4 or 5 here. Three is going to be my max.
Yeah, I don't want more than 3 either. But yeah, like Toronto's bullpen is awful too. I know someone in chat just said that too. But like Toronto's bullpen has been awful this year. I think Detroit is really interesting. I don't really have a ton of interest in the Toronto bats, though. Flaherty's been great.
No.
Like we did talk a lot about how Toronto was hitting better, right before the break, but I want to use that in a different spot. I don't want to use that today against this team.
I agree 100%.
I say against this team. I don't want to use them against Flaherty. San Diego at Cleveland, 8 total. Cleveland a 140 favorite. We got Matt Waldron against Tanner Bybee. Any interest here in Matt Waldron?
Nah, not against Cleveland, man. Can't do it.
Yeah, not even with the knuckleball. I'm with you. It's such a low strikeout spot, even with the knuckleball. Cleveland's just a sound lineup, man. There's only 2 guys with strikeout rates over 16% in this lineup on a daily basis. They're such a tough offense to face because they walk, they hit, they don't strike out. They keep calling people up like Angel Martinez, who keeps hitting. It's not a team you want to face. So I'm with you on Waldron. Tanner Bybee, any interest in Bybee against San Diego?
So Bybee is an interesting one to me because I think he has upside. I don't know if the upside shows up in this spot. It's a similar spot to Waldron, but I do think Tanner Bybee's better long term. I don't think I'm going to play Bybee today, Stevie. I think I play Bassett over Bybee because of the weaker part of the Detroit. I feel like the Detroit lineup is weaker overall, obviously, than San Diego. So Bybee doesn't quite make the cut for me. He's not going in any lineups today.
Yeah, just like it's a terrible spot for both of these pitchers because you have two offenses that just don't strike out. So yeah. Any interest here in the San Diego bats?
Okay, so here's the weird thing. I don't want to stack San Diego. I'm fine with if you want to one off these guys. Like if you want to try to grab a Merrill or a Profar, if you're filling in second base with Cronenworth, like I'm fine with that. But generally speaking, I'm not stacking San Diego either.
Yeah, it's really tough to love these guys. And I have a lot more interest in the Cleveland side, but Cleveland's still not a team that I think I'd full stack. Like, you try to get one or two big hits surrounded by a lot of like runs scored and hits and RBIs kind of thing, but it's more of another mini stack here in general for me on Cleveland. But the prices on Cleveland have gotten so expensive. Like Ramirez is 61, Naylor's 54. So I don't even know if you get to much Cleveland as one-offs today just because the pricing has just caught up so much.
Yeah, Quan 57. I
instantly overlooked him at that price. So
yeah, I think if you're playing anybody, it's probably Naylor or Jose or Ramirez, and that's probably that maybe even David Fry if you think righty he can sit one out of the park, which I absolutely think he could. But I'm not thrilled about the Guardians today either, Steve. It's just I don't know if they have as much upside today as they would against obviously a bottom of the barrel pitcher. So maybe a one-off Naylor, maybe a one-off Ramirez. I'll check to see if I can fit them in.
All right. We got New York Mets at Miami Marlins. 8 total in this game. Mets a 140 favorite. Sean Manaea, Edward Cabrera. Sean Manaea under 8K. Getting a stellar matchup here against the Marlins. Sean Manaea has been pitching really well against some teams that he should be pitching really well. Yep. He should keep it going right here. I mean, gets another great matchup in a great pitching ballpark and should just keep rolling here. I like Sean Manaea a lot today.
Yeah, and he's cheaper than my favorite pitcher, Stevie. So clearly he's going in the pool today. I'm interested to see where his ownership shows up. I feel like there's a clump of these guys, Stevie, that are what I'm going to consider the cheaper guys. I think it's 3 or 4 of them that get all the ownership. I still don't think it's Manaea, but I think when people see that price tag under 8K, I think it's going to excite them. And I think he'll pick up some steam. But I still don't think he's higher on than Hunter Brown for what it's worth, who's in that group of 4 that I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think he's going to be popular today. Someone in chat, Balance Unlimited, asks, will Sean Manaea be chalk today? I do. I think he'll be very popular today. I think he has such a good matchup. He's been pitching so well. He's probably $1,000 to $1,500 too cheap for a Miami matchup, even on this slate with all the pitchers that we have. So tough to say like what ownership will be because we do have. You could play 15 plus pitchers today. I mean, that's how many good pitchers there are today.
Manaea was close to this price against the Yankees, if that tells you anything, Stevie. But I think it's the size of the slate. If this slate was smaller, he's 8,500 plus, easy.
Edward Cabrera. I mean, the strikeouts are there, but you gotta to strike people out. You gotta miss bats, and man, when he gets hit right now, he's getting hit hard. 246 ISO. 380 WOBA, 62.5% hard hit rate, 15% barrel rate right now for Cabrera. Easiest fade on the slate today for me. No chance whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no need for us to reach.
Yeah, like he's come back from the IL and it's like it hasn't gotten any better. I don't even know if he was on the IL or if he got set down or what, but man, it's been a rough go this year for Cabrera. Like the Mets, hate the ballpark. Like the Mets, this guy has been getting hit so hard that like you could play both sides here. You could play lefties or righties. Lindor, Nimmo, Alonso, all kind of priced up. Viento's still really fair price tag. You're going to get some cheap bats in here, though. So I don't mind. Again, I think I'd play them as a mini. Like, it's not a team that I think I want a full stack today.
Yeah, I think I'm with you, Stevie. We're going to get to one of my full stack teams here probably within the next few games, 2 or 3 games, I think. I think it is. We'll see. But I might end up liking the Mets a lot more than you because of this Cabrera, because of the problems Cabrera is having, Stevie.
Oh, the problems are, yeah.
I think that's what's going to intrigue me with the Mets. I probably, if I play the Mets, which as of right now, I'm going to play both New York teams for sure. I think I end up with at least 4 Mets. I don't think I go to the mini stack right with them. I think I go ahead and pile up because the other thing that Cabrera has had trouble with in the past, and I got to check the numbers this season. I don't have it right up in front of me. So sorry about that, listeners. I should have had that one up or that sheet up. His control issues, Stevie, like he's typically had slight control issues. And so if he has control issues against this team, even in this ballpark, they're going to get it. Lindor was on the tear before the break. So I think I play at least 4 Mets, and I'll leave it at
that. Any interest in the Marlins?
No.
Yeah, easy fade. St. Louis at Atlanta, 7.5 total seems to be the common theme today. Atlanta 135 favorite. We got Sonny Gray going against Spencer Schwallenbach. Any interest here in Sonny Gray?
I do. I have some interest in Gray, Stevie, because the strikeouts are still there. Now, what I'm hoping, hear me out here, Stevie, what I'm hoping is that he can just not get his face punched in. I mean, he's given up so many hits. He's probably a little bit overpriced. He probably should be back down in a much lower salary position. He probably should be 8,200 with the way he's been rolling. But I still think the strikeout upside is there. Atlanta's not the same team right now. There are a few strikeouts in this lineup. And so if he can keep the ball inside the park and not get punched around some, Stevie, this could be a really nice performance for him at 9,200. Taking a picture against my favorite team, and I'm probably already paying the price for it before the slate starts. But I still think the strikeout upside is there.
Yeah, the strikeouts have been okay. Just, man, this guy has been getting hit really hard by some teams that, even with the Atlanta's lineup struggling a little bit, like I think the Atlanta lineup's better than some of these teams that have been hitting him. Listen, I am not afraid to play pitchers against Atlanta right now, so I completely understand. Johnson and chat saying rain, a lot of rain potential for this game. I kind of hope it rains out. I'm not going to lie, because I don't know exactly what I want to do with Sonny Gray today. Part of me wants to take a shot. Part of me wants to stack against him. So I'm really on the fence with Sonny Gray today. There's so many good pitchers today that I just don't know if I get to him. Schwallenbach on the other side, he has some upside. St. Louis has been hot or cold. They're one of the most tilting offenses in baseball because they're going to go out and they're going to score a bunch, or they're going to go out there and get hit hard. So I think another slate, I would potentially take some shots on him. I don't think today is the day that I take shots on him, though.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And, Stevie Schwellenbach has actually been good to us in a few spots this season. And he's put up some nice performances, even against good teams like Philly and San Diego. The more I think about it, I think at 7,600, I think he's going to end up making the cut. I think he makes the cut.
Cardinals bats. Any interest in the Cardinals bats?
Oh man, I mean, not particularly, Stevie. I mean, look, if you're telling me you want to squeeze one of these guys in because they're cheap, like Gorman or Donovan, Like, I'm not going to argue with you, but if you're saying you want to play Arenado, okay, if he's 4K, I get it. But overall, excuse me, I'm not playing the St. Louis Bats today.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when he does struggle, it's power lefties, and that is where St. Louis has some upside, is some of these power lefties, Burleson, Donovan, Nootbaar's back.
Yeah.
I don't mind Gorman. Like, I think you could potentially, on this slate, if this game stays okay weather-wise, take some shot on these lefties. Any interest in Atlanta here against Gray?
Not really, Stevie. He's probably going to give up some hits. I mean, that's been his track record here recently, but I don't want to load up on the Braves. I mean, if you want to play Matt Olson, okay, no problem. I think the Braves are more of a one-off tee for me today than the stat.
Baltimore at Texas, 8 total. Baltimore, 160 favor. Got Corbin Burns going up against Nathan Eovaldi. Any interest here in Corbin Burns?
I'm okay with Burns, Stevie. He's either going to have a good outing or he's not. At 9,100, Texas is going to have enough righties in this lineup. He hasn't had the goods against lefties this season, like in times past, Stevie. So righties, he's been great. Lefties, not as much. But I'm still okay with if he can keep the ball on the ground. He should. He typically has enough leash to get him through 6 or 7. And if he can keep the ball on the ground, keep the runs limited, he should have a nice outing here. And it definitely has one of the better offenses in baseball behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I always like playing Corbin Burns. The strikeout upside is there. I will say his strikeouts have dipped down enough this year to make me consider not playing him as one of the most expensive pitchers on the slate. He recently just faced his team, pitched really decent against them, but his BABIP was really favorable for him instead of the bats. So I don't know, man. Like, we have a lot of good pitchers, and I feel like I can be kind of picky. I think in this range, I would take shots on like Cole and Flaherty, and then I'd go down to like Brown, Walker, Manaea. Like, even though we have all these great pitchers, I have no issues like getting my pitching pool down on this slate because I feel like I could be picky enough where I'm going to play these guys and it's either going to go really good or really bad. And I just don't know if Corbin Burns makes the cut for me today. And it's not like I'm going to stack against Corbin Burns by any means, but I think I'm going to put him on the shelf in this one. Eovaldi is the second highest priced pitcher on the slate. He's been pitching fantastic recently. Baltimore is a tough matchup. Do you trust the recent performance for Eovaldi, or is this another guy you're putting on the shelf?
I do trust him now. What I don't trust, Stevie, is he might not get 7 or 8 strikeouts this game. I think he can get 5. And look, he can get 7, don't get me wrong, but I think his value, Stevie, is some strikeouts, but being able to have a leash and get to that 7th inning. I think that's his value in this game. And if he can get it fairly clean, then I think we see a nice performance from him. Eovaldi is also, like I said, just a ton of pitching on this slate, Stevie. A ton of solid pitching. And I'm going to continue. I'm going to put Eovaldi in the solid pitching category. Once again, just to reiterate, I don't think he has as much raw strikeout upside as some of these other guys we're going to talk about. But I definitely think he has the ability to eat through some innings and pick up strikeouts. I think he ends it somewhere between 5 and 6. And I think he can get to 7 innings in this spot also, as long as he can keep the ball in the yard.
Sorry. My kids come in the office and they always mess with my stuff, and I couldn't find my fan remote. I'm like, so hot in here with the lights on.
Oh man, you kind of reminded me. I'm sitting here right now with my ceiling fan not on.
Yeah, well, my ceiling fan's going, and then I have a Dyson fan next to me. And I'm still hot. So anyway, Nathan Eovaldi, I hate the price point, but I also think the price point potentially and matchup keeps the ownership down. My biggest concern is the strikeouts. Like you kind of talked about, like this team's a good offense. They don't walk a lot. They don't strike out a lot, and they have a ton of power from top to bottom. So I'm on the fence on Eovaldi today. I love the fact that like he has an extremely good leash, but I hate the matchup for him today. Going up against Baltimore. Any interest in the Baltimore bats against Eovaldi?
No. I just don't like. I mean, man, the pitching's so good, Steve. Like I said, there's an offense coming up that we're gonna like, but the pitching's just so good today. It's just, it's a really good pitching slate.
I think if you were gonna play Baltimore, it's just a full blown stack. I don't think you're just like, hey, maybe Eovaldi doesn't have it today. This bullpen's beatable sometimes, and we just trust the Baltimore team to be able to score 8+ runs. But yeah. I don't think I'd play them today.
Yeah.
Texas bats against Burns.
Same situation. I mean, maybe they score a run or two, Stevie. Any pitcher can get touched up, and we know this. But like generally speaking, the better pitchers are going to limit the runs. They're going to have much better games, and so I don't mind a one-off of Seager. Just like, I wouldn't mind a one-off of Gunnar or Mullins or something like that. But I'm not stacking either one of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is a spot. White Sox at Kansas City, 8.5 total.
Here we go.
Kansas City at 210 favorite. We got Chris Flexen and Michael Wacha. Any interest in the Magic Man, Mr. Chris Flexen?
No.
All right, good fast no. Love to see it. No strikeout upside. Even on a good day, he probably puts up like 18. I don't think that's enough today.
Yeah.
I don't think he gets to 18 either. Wacha, other side, White Sox. Hey, they still really bad. Like those Chicago White Sox are so bad that Chris Flexen is the opening pitcher after the All-Star break. Rough times if you're a Chicago White Sox fan. Any interest here in Michael Wacha?
I have some, Stevie. I think this is a good matchup for him. I think this is a spot where he could get you 18 to 20. And so if that's the case, he's going in the pool. I am going to monitor ownership on some of these cheap guys because the way I think I'm going to play this slate today, Stevie, is I'm gonna load up on the pitcher I think is going to outscore the others while still having ownership to the others, maybe slightly over the field or slightly less. But at least one or two of these guys, I'm going well over the field. I don't think Walker's is one of them. I think he's more of a field match for me. But I still think, this matchup with the White Sox should help him to yield some really good results.
Yeah, I like Wacha. He should pitch well. I have no issues taking shots on Wacha here. The White Sox stink. So, like, the only person in this lineup that is good at hitting baseballs this year is Luis Robert. That's really it. I mean, it kind of segues. He's the only hitter that I think I'd play from this team. And I mean, that's just a common thing, but that's it. I don't want to play anybody else outside of him.
Yep. I'm with you 100%.
Any interest in Kansas City here?
Oh, plenty. Here we go, Steve. I've been waiting to talk about this team. Mr. Flexen is not going to keep getting out of these fixes. He's going to get hemmed up here at some point. And why can't it be tonight? I know Kansas City, as we approach the break, they weren't legitimately just piling on runs like I think we saw at the beginning of the season, but I'm okay. Like against Flexen, Perez, Vinny P, Garcia, who's been one of my favorite hitters. Obviously not to overshadow Bobby Witt and then all these cheap outfielders. I like this team, Stevie. I think, coming off the break, should be a little warm tomorrow. I think they can get the Flexen here, man. I really like Kansas City as a full stack.
Yep, I'm right there with you. Kansas City is one of the top offenses on this slate. Don't overthink this one.
Yeah.
San Francisco at Colorado, 10 total, highest total on the slate. We got Logan Webb, Cal Quantrill, Giants, a 165 favorite. Let's start with Logan Webb. Kind of all over the place recently, but man, I think overall, I think this is a good spot for Logan Webb.
Yeah, love Logan Webb today. Getting the price bumped down, Stevie, because of the Coors situation, and I love taking advantage of these spots with good pitchers, Stevie. 8K. This is just a fantastic price for him. He's one of my top options today, if not my favorite option. So I love it. One of my top owned plays, or highest owned plays for sure, of the whole slate.
Yeah, I mean, he's not been fantastic recently, but he is definitely in play against the Rockies. He's a ground ball guy, shouldn't get beat up by pitching in Coors, and the Rockies offense stinks. So yeah,
This matchup
I
gets
like
him
Logan.
right back on track.
Yep, I like Logan Webb a lot.
Yeah, and he's got a long leash, Stevie. Like, I legitimately think he could go 7 here with upside for 8 if he's pitching well.
Cal Quantrill, other side. Any interest in Quantrill here?
Nope.
Yeah, 17.8% strikeout guy. Gets hit both sides. Really struggling recently. The last month or so has been a rough go for Cal Quantrill. Giants bats. They're in course. They're going to have some ownership today for sure because of the slate. What do we like here for the Giants?
So for clarity's sake, Stevie, you know how much I don't play Coors. But in my opinion, today's slate is going to force me to play Coors, and I'm okay with that because we've got so much good pitching. So this San Francisco offense, while they have a couple guys that are up there like Ramos and Soler, which, you know, Ramos made the All-Star team, obviously. I think it's a fine spot. They're expensive, Stevie, because of the Coors situation. And this is where, when I was talking about earlier, being able to maybe play a Webb and another 8K guy or Webb or in a Mania, that type of combination is going to be the fertilizer to help that big bat lineup grow. If especially you want to get these expensive bats from the Giants in there. So love San Francisco. I think it's a good spot for them. I'm nowhere near afraid of Cal Quantrill. And I think they need to be played today because there's so many good pitching spots. And I think there's going to be a lot of offensive limitations with those guys.
Yeah, I really like San Francisco as well. Obviously, Coors, Cal Quantrill, everything kind of going well. And for what it's worth, I think I'd have interest in the Giants even if they were at home against Cal Quantrill. So
exactly.
Any interest here in Colorado against Webb?
If it's against Webb, the answer is no, Stevie. I'm going to fade him for sure. And if my computer is slowing down, bear with me. My new internet's been working perfectly, Stevie. I'm just pulling up because some guys in the chat are saying they swapped out Webb. And they do have Harrison in there now. I went to the official MLB website. They do have Harrison in there. And believe it or not, that's going to change things for me, Stevie. If Harrison is in fact starting, I'm going to have a lot more interest in Colorado for what it's worth.
Yeah, me too. That's interesting. But yeah, I see it too on some of the sports books. So when I did when I wrote this down a while ago,
I had that too.
But no interest in Harrison if he does pitch. A lot of interest in Tovar, Doyle, Rogers, Stallings, Toglia,
totally different situation.
Goodman. Yeah, I mean, Colorado becomes so much more playable, cheaper. So I actually would have a ton of interest in Colorado bats if it is Harrison, and that's what it definitely looks towards.
MLB website has Harrison right now, so unless they make a swift change overnight, I think it's Harrison for sure.
I'm guessing you have a lot of interest too in the Rockies in that situation.
Oh yeah. Now that Harrison's, I wasn't going to play them against Webb because I felt like Webb is going to be legitimately limiting as much run damage as he could. Harrison's not going to be able to do that, Stevie. So you've got these cheap guys, and you talked about them, Tovar, Goodman, Rogers, all these guys. They're getting played. I am officially for sure playing the Colorado Rockies here, Steven, because the other offenses are still going to be limited with all this good pitching on the board. So this game alone could be a really good source of fantasy scoring. Love both offenses.
LA Angels at Oakland, 8.5 pick'em game. Griffin Canning, JP Sears. Any interest here in Griffin Canning?
Stevie, I want to do it. I really want to do it. I just don't play Griffin Canning. Had a real good outing against Oakland last time he saw his team. But I just can't bring myself to play Griffin Canning. The $5,800 price tag, though, Stevie, is so intriguing. But I think I'm going to let him sit on the shelf.
Listen, I love the idea of playing Canning against Oakland, and he pitched really well against them a month ago. But I just can't do it on this.
Yeah,
he's really cheap.
Not today. The price tag has got me in the conundrum. Yeah,
he's really cheap. So, if I was gonna play anybody under 7,500, it'd probably be him. But I don't think I play any of them under 7,500. I will say maybe it's JP Sears on the other side that I'd roll the dice on too. His strikeouts have been really stellar recently, and he just dominated this team not too long ago. But maybe one of these two pitchers, if you're getting really big player pitcher pool. What are your thoughts on JP Sears?
I feel like he's in the same situation as Griffin Canning. I would consider it, but I just think there are too many 8K guys that internally, Stevie, outside of the statistics, I just feel better about their overall situation. What I think I'm going to get from them. For instance, I'm looking at Sean Manaea. I feel like I have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to get from Manaea today. I feel like I've got a good idea about Bassett, about Waka, about Hunter Brown. And once again, these pitchers are much cheaper than those guys. Here's where I think I do it, Stevie. If I want to stack big bats from the Yankees, which would obviously be Judge and Soto, and then if I want to stack, the big bats from not Colorado, San Francisco, and maybe I want to play a Jose Ramirez. If I want to start getting big bats, I think I make it to either of these pitchers, but I don't. Generally speaking, I don't want to play them. I think the price may force me to play them in some of the lineups.
Yeah, I think it's okay. I don't think Trout's coming back till the end of July. Derek, I'm pretty sure it's the end of July. Because I've been doing some baseball best balls while we've been on break for the All-Star break, and I think Trout is end of July. If you're not taking shots on JP Sears, any of these Angels bats that you like here?
Not really.
Yeah, I think Taylor Ward is fine. Joe Adele is a huge power prospect against lefties, so you could take some shots on those guys. But overall, I'm not stacking against JP Sears. He's been pitching really well recently, and I just don't think you want to stack against him. Oakland bats. Any Oakland bats against Griffin Canning?
So I feel like Oakland is more wild card than the Angels, Stevie. And what I mean by that is I feel like if you want to stay in the upper echelon of pitching, let's say you want to play Flaherty or you want to play Gray and one of the AK guys, you may need access to a team like Oakland for some cheap pieces. And while Oakland does have a couple guys like Rooker, who's 5,100, Lane Liz is still cheap. G-Loft still cheap. Most of these guys are still under 4K. And, man, this team is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, Stevie. One day they're the worst team in baseball. The next day, they're the 1990s Atlanta Braves. I think you need some slight exposure a few of these guys against Canyon, but not a mega stack. No more than 3. Probably 2 mans would be your best bet.
Yeah. I don't mind a mini stack of Oakland. Canning really struggles with lefties. Just really, 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 really bad. Like 230 ISO, 375 WOBA against lefties. So like taking like a Blade, Langoliers, Butler type of stack and just trying to attack. And like, I mean, Langoliers is just one of those catchers that I play almost every slate, it feels like. But I don't mind like a mini stack. I think Oakland's another team that you could take shots on. If they keep hitting Lawrence Butler leadoff too, I mean, that gives him even more upside. So hopefully they keep doing that. Roker's another guy you can always play. They just strike out a lot. When they hit, but when they strike out a lot. Boston at LA taking on the Dodgers, 8.5 total in this one. Dodgers a 135 favorite. Pivetta, Gavin Stone. Any interest here in Nick Pivetta?
I think I'm going to pass, Stevie. I wish he was a little cheaper. If Pivetta was $8K, $7,900, I think I'd take a shot on it today. I know you say, oh, cheap, it's only $800 or $900 that you want the discount, but I think he can get 20. I don't think he gets 30. And because I think 20 is kind of his 20 to 21 is his ceiling today, Stevie, I just prefer he be cheaper. And so I don't think I'm going to end up with any Pivetta shares. But I do think he'll pick up some strikeouts.
I actually kind of have a little interest in Pivetta today. And it's more of just like the bottom half of this lineup for the Dodgers with the injuries is not great. Rojas is much better against lefties. Gavin Lux is 90 ISO this year. Chris Taylor has been playing because they've had some injuries. Like until this team gets healthy, man, I feel like we can take some shots on the pitching against the Dodgers. And I mean, I think Nick Pivetta with his strikeout ability is the perfect guy. He gives up fly balls. This is a good ballpark to maybe help keep one or two of those balls in play. I'm attacking the strikeout upside here with Pivetta because there's a lot of strikeouts in the bottom half of this lineup. And then it's like even the top half, like Teoscar is a guy that strikes out. Will Smith strikes out. Ohtani, I just walk that guy every time he gets on up to play. Just walk him, put him on first base. But yeah, I have a little bit of interest in Pivetta, knowing that now I probably don't have Logan Webb. I think Pivetta is an interesting tournament pivot today. On the other side, we got Mr. Gavin Stone, who doesn't strike anybody out, and he faces a team that doesn't really strike out very often. Easy fade for me today on Gavin Stone.
Yep. FADE, all capital letters, Stevie. Not playing Stone today at all.
Any interest in the Red Sox bats?
Yeah, I do have some interest, Stevie. Obviously, you can always play the big guns. You can play Devers. You can play Duran, who also made the All-Star team. But, some of these other bats like Wong, Dominic Smith, like these guys that have kind of had to play some for injuries. David Hamilton, these are guys just going to get on base. Yoshida still has low strikeouts. So these secondary pieces along with the big guns on Boston, which makes them really intriguing for me. And another thing, Stevie, this is kind of a midnight hammer game. So a lot of people aren't going to be on Boston with them playing at 10 o'clock. So I think it's a perfect time to get on this offense. This is a good spot for them.
Yeah, I definitely don't mind taking some shots here on the Red Sox bats. And again, I probably don't full stack them. Like I have like 4 or 5 teams I like for full stacks, and then I have a bunch of mini stacks, and I kind of like these types of build days where I know what pitchers I want, I know what stacks I want. Any interest in the Dodgers bats?
Ironically, no. Like while I don't really want to load up on Pivetta, I understand that there will be strikeouts. And, maybe Ohtani hits a home run, but and Freddie Freeman anybody can hit a home run, Stevie. But I don't think this is the spot to load up on the Dodgers.
Let's talk Houston at Seattle to finish this out. 7 total. Seattle 130 favorite. We got Hunter Brown and Luis Castillo. All right, let's talk Hunter Brown. You know, he's shown some upside against matchups where he should show upside. He struggled against teams he should struggle against. He gets Seattle, one of the best strikeout matchups in baseball. I say one of the best. It is the best strikeout matchup in baseball. Sean Manaea, Hunter Brown, I think is your chalky pairing today.
Yep, and I don't have to sell anyone on this team, Stevie. They know most of these guys have a 25% K rate or more, somewhere in the 30s. Just play Hunter Brown. Even if he gets beat up today, it's still the right play.
Luis Castillo, any interest in him on the other side?
No. And let me clear that, because I don't think I'm giving a fast no, but I think Castillo at least deserves a real explanation. And so I know he faced Toronto. I know he faced the Angels. I know those were kind of like get right games, if you will. But he's still his strikeout rate to lefties this season. Him, Nola, Burns, and a couple other guys. It feels like it's just not there right now, Stevie. So his K rate is not anything near where it has been, which is affecting his fantasy performance dramatically. And so I'm not playing Castillo against Houston, who's going to be very contact heavy.
Any interest here in the Houston bats?
Maybe a one-off on Alvarez. I don't even mind a one-off Altuve in this spot. Maybe Diaz. You know, my boy Pena, maybe Pena, but Castillo's still better against righties than lefties. Alvarez would probably be the top player. That's about it.
I think this might be a hot take, but I think the Houston stack is playable today.
Yeah, I get it.
Pricing. It's the pricing. Like, no one's going to do it because it's Luis Castillo, and like Houston's cheap. Jordan Alvarez and Altuve are expensive, but the rest of the stack is cheap. Everybody else is under 4K outside of Bregman, who's 4,200. So I don't hate them today. I think they're very playable if you're trying to get different. I think that is where you're potentially looking at Houston, is just to get different. Any interest here in Seattle?
No. Strikeout city.
I'm out. Yeah, no interest from me in Seattle. Let's play the morning grind game, and then we'll get out of here for the week. One podcast this week. It's always different when you have the All-Star break.
Yeah.
All right, we got under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. We have options. Who do you got?
Yeah, I think we're both going to agree that the right call is Sean Manaea.
Yeah, no doubt. 100% agree with you. That is definitely the right call. I will take JP Sears to get 6 or more strikeouts today. Over 8K to score under 15. Who is your bust today?
I think they're both in the same game. I'm going to go Matt Waldron.
I was like, I keep going back and forth on this one. I'm going to go Corbin Burns to get under 15 today. Over 4K to hit a home run, not in Coors. Who do you got going yard today?
Yeah, man, it's this is an interesting spot. Give me Vinny Pasquantino against Flexen.
I like that. I'm going to go to Pete Alonso to hit home run number 20 right out of the gates here on the All-Star break. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bet that you like today?
Hopefully I'm right here, Stevie. Give me Alex Verdugo at 3,700. Really like the Yankees today.
Yeah, I don't hate that at all. Man, I'm trying to. I don't ever look at pricing, and I usually look at pricing, and I didn't. He's under. Okay, he's under. Give me Lawrence Butler to get 2 hits today for Oakland. 3K should hit leadoff. hit 3 home runs right there to finish out the All-Star right before the All-Star break. So give me Lawrence Butler. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who do you got?
I think there are a lot of teams that are available. Obviously, I'm going to get outside of Coors. I think there's a team that we both really like. I'm going to try to give you something a little bit different here, and I talked about it. I think Boston's going to be on the late night hammer, man. Give me the Boston Red Sox.
The Red Sox. All right. I guess I'll take the Royals since you left them for me.
Well, that was the team I obviously would have taken, but I said to me that was the obvious team outside of Coors.
Yeah. Well, I'll take the obvious one. That's fine with me. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like on this slate?
Yeah, man. Give me Sean Manaea, 5.5 strikeouts. Get them.
Is it that low?
It is. It is.
No.
It is. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't.
Sorry for the dead air there for a second. I'm like quickly trying to pull up and see if it's available for me. I didn't even see that one, man. Yeah, the props aren't up yet on the Hard Rock, but I agree with Will. 5.5 for Sean Manaea. That is a really, really stellar number. I'm going to go back here to what, man, I like this one, and then it moved. I still like this. Give me Michael Wacha over 4.5 strikeouts. When I looked at this earlier, it was a better line. It was like minus 128. It's minus 135 on the DK app right now. So give me Michael Wacha over 4.5 strikeouts. Well, Will, any other bets that you like?
I'm going to give you 2, Stevie, and maybe they parlay them, maybe they don't. I'm not saying you can't have 2. You can absolutely single leg these. I think Garrett Stone is getting too much respect because of the Dodgers name. Give me Boston plus 120, and then give me the Mets at minus 130. The money line there.
Mets minus 130. Okay. I like it. Those fighting Phil's money line. Who I don't even look at that game. Who is Philadelphia playing?
They're playing the Pirates. Martin Perez. Aaron Nola's on the mound.
Oh, all right. Well, my 3-pick parlay, they're back. My 3-pick parlay to send you off to the weekend. I actually already had Mets money line as part of my parlay. So Mets money line, Royals money line, and I'm going to take the Astros on the road to beat Seattle. Again, I like them, and you can get this plus 450 is what it is on the Hard Rock. So I'm hoping you guys can get close to that on whatever sports book you like. If you want to join in on the 3-pick parlay, I've posted the link to the Morning Grind contest on the YouTube chat. I will do the best I can to remember to put it in the comments of the video as well over there on YouTube. If you haven't already, subscribe to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind YouTube page. Come hang out with us live. That's going to wrap us up for Friday. We're back Monday talking baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.